We've got news about the Kitty Pryde movie. We're going to talk about Black Panther. And for the sake of the title, we're going to revisit a great Avenger, Tigra. So we got Kitties, Panthers, and Tigras. Oh my! Marvel TV Weekly starts now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Tune them.
Okay.
I'm so excited for this.
I think I've wandered onto the set of a different show that I did not mean to be on the panel of. Not that I'm not enjoying it. I'm just a little out of my comfort zone right here. Welcome to Marvel TV Weekly. I'm Christian Bladt. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at ChristianDMZ. And as, well, I was going to say as always, but as almost always, joined by Amy Cassandra Martinez. We go with all three, right?
Just, yeah, long name. Why not?
And where do people find you?
On all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ, which is an abbreviation for Martinez.
So that's so you know.
That's, yeah, just in case you guys were wondering.
And as they say on G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle. And at the other end of the desk, Michael Shirley. Where do people find Michael Shirley?
You can find me at Michael X Shirley on Instagram and Twitter.
An absolutely stunning coat here for those watching on YouTube.
So much.
It goes with our feline theme for the episode, which is a very shaky, tenuous theme to begin with. But I felt like I needed to just run with it after we were trading some messages over the weekend. Wait, where did the song go, Tony? We didn't even get to the part where I could talk about the song. So, Amy, for our audience, tell them what that song is because I sure don't know.
The song is called Ops. It's by Vince Staples. It's with Eugen Blackrock.
It is from
the Black Panther soundtrack.
And it's from the big car chase scene.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
oh gosh, guys.
We understand that Black Panther is a movie, and we're going to talk about it anyway. I know this is Marvel TV Weekly, but it's kind of a big Marvel story, and we will get to that in a moment. But I wanted to very selfishly start off with some news that I'm even more excited about. As always, if there's Kitty Pryde news, I'm going to lead with it. And we were talking about Kitty just last week, and there's some rumors about the standalone movie. The working title is 143, which is not just beeper text code for I love you. That's for our older audience, believe me. Amy's looking at me like, what are you even talking about?
You lost me.
You would text somebody 143 because it meant I love you. Don't ask why. Just, there's like somebody in the chats like who's over 35 is like, yeah, I know what they're talking about. Maybe Michael's just looking at me like I'm crazy. Maybe you weren't a drug dealer like I was. That's fine. But, and the excitement, the rumor mill is in full swing at the notion that it is called 143 as a reference to Uncanny X-Men number 143, final issue drawn by John Byrne, just for those who know. And it's a Christmas episode where Kitty Pryde is trapped with the Nagari in the X Mansion. Now, I was trading messages with Michael about this because I was so excited. And he was very quick to shit on my excitement. Because what did you call this story? Uncanny X-Men
Home Alone 9 or something.
Home Alone 9. And I said it is not Home Alone. It is a direct ripoff of Alien, which was only a few years earlier. Because it's just one person.
That didn't happen in a house on Christmas.
No, but I mean that's what they're going for. I mean, first of all, look at the aliens. I mean, the Nagari,
Looks
the
like
Brood.
Joe Pesci to me.
It's a little more Daniel Stern, but sure. But it is one of it's a great standalone Kitty Pryde story. You don't have to really worry too much about the chronology. You could kind of tell the story without having to worry about there being too many X-Men around. You know, you don't have to figure out where it fits in. So the idea that Tim Miller of Deadpool fame would direct it, and Brian Michael Bendis allegedly writing it, which I find hard to believe, only in that he's literally just started writing for DC Comics like right now, unless he already wrote the script. In which case it would make sense. Michael, you're not excited about this, are you? It's okay. You don't have to be.
It's a little out. It's a little random.
It's a little random that they tell this story.
Yeah.
Well, as we saw with the recently shelved New Mutants movie, look for that in 2019, they were going for a little bit more of a horror vibe. And this certainly would fit that bill, having kind of a more of a suspenseful nature. I don't know.
Can you change Kitty this close?
Can you change the actress who plays her?
Yeah.
I mean, they changed Jean Grey and...
But that's like going back in time. That's looking at their younger selves. It's not like recasting. It's like a younger version.
Well, this could be a younger Ellen Page incarnation. This could be from before Days of Future Past, before the present day and the future past.
Yeah, I could see that. But they would have to get someone pretty young because she looks
Okay.
like she's about 12 years old.
So who, well, because at this point she was indeed 13 and a half, who would you cast as Kitty Pryde, whether it's this story or somewhere else? That was a conversation we were having.
Over that.
And I said about 15 years ago, I definitely had no qualms. My first choice, maybe my only choice, Natalie Portman, mostly because she is indeed Jewish.
She's a grown-ass woman.
Well, now forget it. Now she has a kid who could practically be Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, right.
So it's not now. And it's been hard to think of since then. Tony in the booth, could you bring back up the photo of Kitty from X-Men 143? When you have a moment. There's no
in the chat said that Kitty is like boring.
Yeah, Black Magic 99 says Kitty isn't interesting. Well, you just haven't read the right Kitty stories. That's what it really comes down to. If you've read Uncanny X-Men 143 and you don't think she's interesting, well, I won't say that you're wrong, but I could give you a list of some other things. Read the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine 6-issue miniseries. If you don't like Kitty Pryde after that, then, well, you gave it your best bet. Art Master Austin Prophet says, I'd cast Amanda Seyfried as Kitty. Amanda Seyfried's too old now.
Yeah.
Like, when Big Love was on, she was a great choice.
What's her name?
Oh.
Aaliyah Shawkat.
Oh, yeah.
She was in Search Party.
She would be great.
And she was in Arrested Development. She's playing like someone that age right now in Search Party. So, I don't know. I don't think she's Jewish, but she's played Jewish before.
Good enough. That's what we'll take. Have you played Jewish before? Then you're good for the role of Kitty. Now, Amy, as you take a look at the cover there, you see a big scary alien, a little girl being chased. Are you put off by that? Do you think that might be too scary? Or you're like, no, I'd like to see that?
I'd like to see that. Also, at the bottom it says, guess what just came down the chimney.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty funny. Yeah. No,
Because it was
I'm game.
Christmas.
I
Yeah.
would like to see a rendition of that costume. And
Well, that's the standard, like the original X-Men
yeah.
costume, the New Mutants costume. You would like to see Kitty in that costume?
I'm
all about mid-'80s Shadowcat, the blue
yeah.
costume with the blue
Sprite.
mask. No, the Sprite with the little pointy mask, and yeah, that's not for me.
Actually, this brings me to I watched X-Men Apocalypse.
Yes, I was actually gonna cue you up on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Cool.
did. And one thing that really, really irritated me was that Jean, like all through the movie, was wearing that Kitty Pryde outfit. That blue blazer with like the tacky pants.
I did not appreciate that they gave her Kitty's costume.
Did you know what I mean? Like,
Believe me, I know
I
exactly
was
what
like,
you mean.
what the what?
What did you think? And we won't spend too much time on a movie from almost 2 years ago, but
Shut up.
no, I'm saying for our audience,
There are no Marvel TV shows on right now.
literally none.
So
by
whatever.
the way.
Come on.
And by
give
the
it
way,
to me.
speaking of Marvel TV shows, I'm almost caught up on S.H.I.E.L.D. So I'm this close to being almost caught up.
I like how when I asked you, you were like, "There's still a lot of time."
There's a lot of time. I only have to watch like 6 more.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, good.
And are you still in season 1, Amy?
I've made it past season 1.
Into like season 2, episode 1? Pretty much.
I'm watching a lot of Oscar-nominated movies right now.
Good for you, by the way.
But thank you. I will do it.
Okay.
It's going to be tough, but I will do it.
So, Michael, just sort of overall thoughts on Age of Apocalypse.
Okay, you thought that I was gonna have a problem with Olivia Munn's costume.
Well, because it's very
It's
cosplay.
probably like the best out
No,
of all of them.
Storm was the best.
Okay, well,
But if you want to say she's second best, then I'll give you that.
yeah. Anyway, it looked like the comics, and I like
Yeah.
that they had the sash or whatever.
I do
thought
like the
that
sash.
was pretty cool. I thought Apocalypse was a pussy. I thought that I like just lived for the end. Like when
You
they
just
turn
couldn't-
around and they all have like their own costumes.
Yeah.
I was like, it's they've listened to me.
They did finally listen
I
to
know.
you.
But watching it, I watched Days of Future Past like right before. I like rewatched that right before, and it made me like Quicksilver.
I'm glad
he
you've
is
come around, yeah.
He's my favorite. He's like my favorite guy character. So I was kind of hard on Evan
You
Peters.
just wanted him to be
But-
as good as Aaron Johnson in Age of
Stop.
Ultron.
No, he wasn't any good either. But I
And
like,
he's dead, so.
I know. So I really liked when he shows up at the X Mansion and
Yeah.
like saves everyone. That was really cool. But
So, if you had to give it, like a letter grade from school, A through F, what would you say about X-Men Apocalypse?
A B because
That's much
I-
higher than most people. I agree with you.
it
I
brought
feel like
everything together
yeah.
for me. Like it made everything make more sense. Like being with Days of Future Past, you're just like, oh, they changed the timeline. But then when you get to that movie, you get to see kind of how it's played out, and it's just like I don't mind so much the younger characters now that we've had that back and forth with like the older and younger selves. But yeah, Storm is super awesome. Archangel was super awesome.
Yeah, I was glad we finally got
Really-
Archangel.
it's probably my favorite X-Men movie that I've
Whoa!
seen. Yeah,
More
yeah,
than
yeah.
Days of Future Past.
I like X2's always been my favorite.
Yeah,
and I didn't really care for Days of Future Past.
Interesting.
Not
All right.
really.
But you've got two of everyone.
But I like Apocalypse. It was pretty good. But I thought he was like a wuss.
Yeah,
I was like, you're never
Apocalypse-
gonna get this done.
Apocalypse is supposed to be this sort of just, this almost impossible villain. I mean, let's be honest, he's a ripoff of Darkseid from the DC universe. So he's
just a
supposed to
little
be
slow.
like, yeah, he was a little slow. Well, what do you want? He's Llewyn Davis,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm glad I watched it.
And
I
now
did
you can dive into Logan.
I did see some stupid things that really annoyed me. I don't understand why Hugh Jackman can't play Wolverine all of his life. I really don't.
So
see
it's
a
like, so he doesn't
point
want to get in that kind of shape. Fine, wear a shirt.
I know, right?
It's
Or an
fine.
outfit.
I mean, he's not ripped in the first X-Men movie from 2000.
Not-
so like,
not crazy.
Not like he ended up I don't know. I think, I don't know. But
It's
anyway.
given me faith for the rest of the series.
And the fact that Dark Phoenix is coming later this year.
Oh, I don't like her.
You don't like...
I don't like
Sophie Turner.
as Jean. No.
Interesting.
No. no.
Well, we're glad that we finally got to talk about it.
Yeah.
But we do want to now transition to a movie
Something
that
current.
is currently in theaters. Now, Michael, you did not see Black Panther.
No, I didn't.
But not for... what do you just... Overall, do you like that character? Do you think he's interesting? Did you like him in Civil War?
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciated like all of that. Like I did like that. When I was growing up in the and getting into comics in like the early 90s, he just wasn't a central figure, and he's something that's like kind of been resurrected. Like characters have their heydays and you don't hear of them really much for like 20 years and then they come back into the fold, and it's kind of what we're seeing with like Blink now. Like she's in everything. But I just really don't know much about him, so I never got drawn into that. But I'll see the movie like when it comes on Netflix or something.
So do you not like to go to the movie theater in general?
I don't like to go to the movies. No,
I don't-
think it's so boring.
It's a long time. It's a bit of a
I have a
commitment.
nice TV. Like I can watch it at home, smoke cigarettes, and like.
Well, you should go to a movie. You should go to a movie theater in France then, because then you can smoke. Well, Amy, I know you did see Black Panther, and for those watching on YouTube, you bought the shirt. Did you buy the shirt at the theater? Is it that kind of cool thing? Because there were the theater I saw it at, they were selling shirts.
Oh,
and I
geez.
probably should have bought one because then I could wear one today, but be a tax write-off. Anyway,
Oh my God! Could I start writing this stuff off?
absolutely, wear them on
Sorry,
camera.
job.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I actually got this at
Changed my
Target. Boys section.
bless Target.
Like 3 weeks ago, $9.
So, apart from the $9 T-shirt, what did you think of the movie? Just on the whole, just all your
whole.
thoughts, however many you care to share in one big burst.
One big burst. Okay, I talked about a little bit of my feelings last night on Box Office Breakdown on Popcorn Talk, and I just kept saying how I didn't want to pump it up too much for people so they wouldn't be overhyped and then, have those expectations not met.
But
that was
for you-
But for me, it was freaking fantastic. I loved it. I don't think I've ever seen a movie where everything just works so cohesively. Like, everyone had the same idea in mind, and it was executed so wonderfully that I left the theater just feeling super pumped up. like I loved it. I think that every character that we saw, there was depth. You know, I didn't read the comics. We've talked about this before.
Completely unnecessary, though, for any of these movies,
Yeah.
really. You don't have to have the background of the comics. It
Which-
helps in some ways,
yeah.
but it's not like you're not going to understand what's going on.
Yes, but I also love that with Black Panther, you don't really even have to know anything about Marvel at all because they recap at the beginning, so you're good to go, which is why I think it did so wonderfully this weekend, 4-day weekend.
Was it $215 million? Is that the box office breakdown?
I mean, like yesterday, yeah, it was like 195 projected, and then like since then, obviously it's just skyrocketed. So
I gave it $8.50. I went to a matinee, so
okay.
yeah,
There you go.
I contributed.
there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, because I won.
Cheaper than your T-shirt, but I'll just point that out.
Okay, hey, thank you. I won the box office bet yesterday and then lost it today because it went up.
So it went up, but
So-
so on box office. Let's explain for our audience. So on box
So-
office
yeah.
breakdown, you bet what the box office total will be, and what
It's
did you
really
say?
fun.
What did you say it was going to be?
I said 195.
Okay,
So it was 192 when we started the show, and then that's projected. So it
So it went up
over.
even higher, though.
Yeah,
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 well-
which is great. I mean, I if you go on my Instagram, if you go on my Twitter, you know just how much I freaking loved it, and I think that it's accessible. You don't really need to be a person of color to appreciate it. I think that everyone can appreciate it and identify with it in some way. Whether it hits you harder, it doesn't. I just think it's accessible for everyone, which I really appreciate.
By the way, I was referencing an old box office total. Our friend Star Drew in the chat, thank you, Star Drew, says 235 million. That's the 4-day total from Thursday through, I guess, includes
amazing.
today, because if it's 4 days.
projective, I mean,
Yeah. So, but I mean, that's a phenomenal amount of money for a character who, let's say, before Civil War, go back 2 years. Most people who love those movies and even have some familiarity with the characters probably don't know that much about Black Panther. So it's a great job by everybody involved that they, first of all, that they were able to create the kind of buzz for it. But what it came down to, at least as far as I was concerned, is that it was a good movie, and from beginning to end,
Yes.
And he's great, Chadwick Boseman. The first thing I saw him in was the Jackie Robinson movie 42, and then he also played James Brown in a movie that I forget the name of. So, and it's funny because if he didn't have that accent, you'd be like, this is African King, doesn't talk like. I mean, he didn't talk like that at all, but it would be very odd if he didn't. And I just think. I think he's great in everything I've seen him in, but I didn't watch him as Jackie Robinson go like, this guy should be a superhero. And I think honestly, it's a character that I've read comics that he's in. I've even read standalone solo stories. Mostly I've seen him, teaming up with other characters. I was more excited watching the movie than I anticipated. Obviously, there was so much hype,
Yeah.
so I knew that, like, all right, it's probably going to be pretty good. But it was not something that, a year ago when I knew Black Panther was coming out, I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be awesome. I was just like, okay, well, I hope it's good. And I just think that the casting was great. And let's be honest, there weren't too many white people slowing the movie down, thank God. And
Was the Human Torch any good?
the Human Torch is not in the movie, unfortunately. But
No, Michael B.
Jordan
Yeah.
was the Human Torch, and he's in there. I was saying Chris Evans was not in the movie. That's who I was talking about.
wow.
But that would be great if you had Michael B. Jordan's character and Chris Evans. Then they could both be talking about what it's like to be the Human Torch. But I thought, he's great in this movie. I have to think now, like, what have I seen him in that he wasn't
Michael
good in?
B- yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not even like he was bad in Fantastic Four. It's just
Wasn't he in Smallville a really long time
Oh,
ago?
was
or is
he?
that someone else?
I don't know. I don't like Superman. No, I'm just kidding. But I actually didn't watch that show. In the chat, let us know if
You don't like Superman?
it was a joke. I like good.
you do?
I like good Superman stories.
I put on Wonder Woman on HBO. I was watching it this weekend, and I turned it off before halfway into it. It was so,
Did you start at the
This
beginning?
Wonder
The
Woman.
current Wonder Woman movie,
it was so boring.
not the one with not the NBC pilot with Adrian Padalecki.
No, I was just expecting something like really cool
Well,
because it got so much. But I hate like war movies, like American war movies and period pieces like that.
Did you like Captain America: The First Avenger? Because that's a war movie.
It was okay. I liked Winter Soldier like a lot better.
I think Captain America the first Avenger is probably my overall favorite Marvel movie. I just think that
Maybe that's why I don't get into Agent Carter either. But
I love.
yeah,
Agent
I was
Carter.
expecting a lot different from Wonder Woman, but it's like.
And then Black Jones says, "Damn, Mike, you turned it off." LMAO. And Starger says he didn't watch Smallville either. So there you go. I'm in good company. And I think that we were talking a little bit before the show, Amy, that people are always kind of looking for, well, here's what's wrong with that thing that everybody says is great. And you can find plenty of movie things that you're like, okay, it was a little CGI for my taste. It would be great if there were more practical effects. It looked great, though. I'm not even saying it didn't look bad, but there are definitely moments where it's a little too CGI for me, and I like to feel like stuff's actually happening. I don't like that it takes me out of the movie, but I still enjoyed it.
Is Wakanda like way more technologically advanced than the U.S.?
Crazy, yeah. There's
And are they known for it in this Marvel universe?
No,
like,
because it's secret. They stay hidden.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Because when I was watching the trailers, it was looking kind of like Thor Ragnarok, like crazy.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, it's crazy in that way.
Colorful
It's it's very colorful. It's beautiful. That was the first thing my wife said when we were talking about it afterwards. She's like, "It just looked beautiful,"
I really like Thor Ragnarok, but I think the level of craziness was up here with Thor, and with Black Panther for me, it was super easily digestible. That I was like, I feel like I'm there, and it's gorgeous. I didn't feel like there was too much CGI. I just kept thinking like, wow, I wish I lived there, kind of a thing.
And all the tech is like very like James Bond.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
that's sort of
With
like
yeah.
And his costume is really cool. The fact that it like absorbs the any kind of. Well, I'm trying to think what you would even call that. It just deflects it. Yeah.
The kinetic energy.
Kinetic energy. Thank you. In the booth, Anthony,
Tony B.
who's apparently not Tony B. Dead anymore, and I don't know how you can find him on Twitter.
You should have done
Unfortunately,
Tony B. Alive.
Tony B. Livin. No, he's at Tony B. Tony _. That's where you can find
Spelled
Tony.
UNDER.
Oh, UNDERSCOR. No, Tony, I know you saw Black Panther. What were your thoughts about the film?
Sorry, hold on. Overall.
Hold on. Black what? Black Lightning? Meh.
Overall, I liked it. It's definitely a movie that feels very real. It's very grounded. It feels like it could actually exist in our world, and I like that the conflict is also very. It's not over the top like past Marvel films. It's more like it's within a contained vacuum that is Wakanda, and like it's a power struggle and everything with Michael B. Jordan. By the way, his character was really great. I really enjoyed Michael B. Jordan's character in this.
It's an interesting arc that his character has from when we first see him in a flashback, right up until the very end, and I mean he's perfect, and the way that he tries to shake things up in Wakanda, you just know it's not going to go well. But
So good.
Yeah, and then he's like literally tatted with like his kill counts pretty much.
yeah.
That's like.
Well, so am I.
That's so
I
badass.
haven't
I
killed
could
anyone.
see-
Yeah,
yeah.
that's why. Yeah. So but as soon as I do, I'll start getting inked up.
I gotta say, it did feel a little parallels to like Lion King and also Macbeth a bit. And some of the fight scenes, I gotta agree, some were like once the CGI kicked in, it felt a little.
Yeah, somebody in the chat, I just saw this before, said that some of it felt like a video. Black Magic said some of it felt video game-ish. And again, it's like it's not like it's not watchable. It's just, it's if you start making me feel like it's the Star Wars prequels, you've done too much CGI.
What?
There's too much
No.
CGI. I'm just saying.
You compared it to those.
Well, that's how much CGI there
What?
was in some of those.
No.
I don't want to imagine
What?
people sitting in a room with like green boxes and then everything's added
Some
after
of
the fact.
The ancestral plane.
Yes.
Scenes were a little too heavy CG.
What?
mean, it's still
Those weren't real magic tigers that lived up in trees.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, yeah.
Back to
Thank
it.
you.
They
Thank you,
got
Amy.
real ones, guys.
What were you gonna say, Michael?
What Tony was saying about the Lion King, like one of those posters was like looked like
Looked like the Lion King. There's definitely some Lion King moments, but there's no real Uncle Scar in this story, but maybe in the sequel.
Also, the women really kicked ass.
The women were amazing.
Like Shuri, Nakia, Nakoya, they're all amazing characters. I also loved Andy Serkis too, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that was the thing I was going to reference. I can't take credit for this, but Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman are the only white people in the movie for all intents and purposes.
The token
Freeman.
white guy.
And yeah, exactly. Thank you for they're the token white guys. TOLKEIN. It's not my joke, but I thought it was very funny. And but in all honesty, Martin Freeman did not need to be in this movie at all. I like him a lot. Going back to the British office, but why is he there? He's not. It's not like having one of your major characters in there. So they must have a spin-off movie plan for him or something. But it's not like having Agent Coulson there. It's not like this beloved character from the Marvel universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But not that he was bad. I was just like, well, why is he here exactly? Andy Serkis made sense because we saw his character previously. What were we going to say, Amy?
I think there was a point to Martin Freeman.
What was the point?
Well, I don't want to give away.
Trust the
plot.
CIA?
No.
Because I don't.
No. I don't want to give away plot points, but he has an important role in it that helps and shows you certain things about him that it's like he's not who you think he is.
What you're trying to say, is it the circle of life? Is that what it is? See,
Really?
it all comes back to the Lion King.
Really? Wow. No, trust me, guys. It's much better. I loved it so much more than Lion King. Lion King is cool.
In the chat, Black Jones says, pretty sure Disney is working on a Wakanda resort as we speak. Black Magic says, yo,
That
a
would be
Wakanda resort
amazing.
would be so great.
They've been talking for years about making like a superhero theme park.
Yeah, well,
It's
the
just
Star
like-
Wars one, they're pretty close to like having not just the Star Wars land, but like a hotel that has like an immersive experience. There's not enough real estate for Disney for all the properties that they own at this point to spin them all off into their own theme parks.
If they made a Marvel theme park, I would go like every year. And, like stay there.
Like
for,
going
a
back
week.
to like around 2000 in Orlando, they had at Universal, they had some licensed. They had a lot of Marvel characters and a Spider-Man ride that I liked. But if they could have like a Disney-owned,
I've seen drawings, like sketches for like what they would look like. It looked pretty cool.
and we could all go and we could do the show from there.
Oh my god.
See, look how excited Amy is.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
All right, well, see, there you go.
Let's get it done, guys.
we
Let's get it done.
we will indeed. We'll get it done. So you were talking also, Amy, about so what are some of the things that people who need to always like try and let the air out of the balloon? What are people saying negatively about it that you heard, and not saying that you agree with them, but
Right.
just some of the things that you find it hard to believe that people are just looking for things to complain about.
So here's the thing. What I'm about to say you guys might not agree with, and that's totally cool. We all have our opinions. But some people were saying, well, I can't identify with it because I'm not a person of color. And that's their opinion, but I feel like there's so many movies out there where you don't have people of color really in them, and you don't see people saying, well, I can't identify with 50 Shades of Grey, for example. I don't know. Like, maybe it resonated with you more, but not so much me. So that's something that I'm like, okay, I think there are lots of issues in the film that resonate with people in general. Like, it depends on
All kinds of conflict. It deals with family
Yes,
and
that's everyone. And I'm sure, I mean, there's certain cultural things that, yeah, I mean, kind of like Coco, resonated hardcore with Hispanics. But I think that, it wasn't just aimed at Hispanics, just like Black Panther isn't just aimed at people of color. Like, there are universal issues that we can all relate to. We're all human. We all have that. So.
And what I liked is that, obviously it's set in Africa, so there are a lot, the sort of the fusion between long-held tribal culture and then also the crazy tech that they have. And the fact that they maintain both of them. I thought that was really well done.
Well, and like for people that don't know the culture, it's cool to see that. And, of course, like we've seen all over the news, kids are getting to see this film for free and getting to experience that.
I didn't get to see it for free.
I'm sorry. So that's
Now
cool.
I feel bad.
Well, there you go. Yeah, CGI.
Yeah.
The fight scenes. Some of them people are like, well, I didn't really believe them because they were getting ready beforehand. Like, there's a lot of stuff online if you want to look it up. you know,
Yeah, well,
there's reasoning.
The interesting
behind
thing
certain
that I
things.
saw is, look, there, and for those watching on YouTube, I am very obviously not a person of any color or shade to speak of. I'm 50 shades of pale. But, and, you know, if you're just listening on iTunes, that probably doesn't surprise you either. But what you read, and from friends on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere, friends of various colors, just very excited that they finally have somebody who they're like, yeah, so this is the Black Super. When we had Ryan Sands on this show from Runaways, he was very excited for this movie. And if you follow him on Instagram, like Michael and I do, you know he was really excited when he saw the movie, because you're just sort of waiting for this opportunity.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been the good, big Black superhero movie before, you know? And
Yeah, I think the way that the people that might feel that way, they don't really know why they're feeling that way. It's just because they have taken for granted everything, you know, that they see in films, and maybe they're just not, you know, as affected by things culturally. But yeah, I don't think it's about like, oh well, I'm not Black, so it didn't do anything for me. It's about having appreciation, and I think like white people problems. Like we've gotten like every superhero movie is like a white person. So yeah, it's like a deeper appreciation, and whether the movie was good or bad, I think that it's good.
Yeah, well, and there were also people saying that it's like you guys think, well, kind of worded like this, like you guys maybe just think it's good because of the social commentary. No, like everything cohesively worked beautifully.
it's a great story if you were to
both.
just read it. And, you
Yeah.
know, just read the screenplay and
Yeah.
not seeing it, realize it. It's not like the story is not great. The social commentary is great added value for the people that were sort of looking for that.
Someone, Black Magic mentioned Blade.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that was one of the things that I saw. People were like,
kind
this
of
is
an
the
anti-hero.
Yeah, exactly.
though.
He's not real, and he's definitely not a superhero. He's
Yeah.
not like who we tend to think of. And yes, obviously, Wesley Snipes is the first Black superhero, just as Wesley Snipes. His kryptonite, of course, was the IRS, but that's really neither here nor there. But I
There are a lot of Black superheroes now, but not like leaders.
right, and that are leaders and
team
that get
leaders,
their
yeah.
get their own movie. I mean, you know, you had Cyborg in Justice League, and you know, I mean, I didn't think he was
Snore.
okay. Well, I didn't think he was that bad, but you know, it just you haven't had it now, and I find it refreshing that when you finally get this character, you get Black Panther, you get the first Black superhero. I mean, it's like an African superhero. It's not, you know, look, I love Falcon. I'm not saying that I wouldn't like a Falcon movie, but he's not that different, you know. I mean, this is a completely different world that you get to explore, and you do get all the history and you know, the technology and all that. And I think that it's great that this gets to be the first one, you know. But I'm gonna feel like it's not going to be the last one, although I don't know who gets the movie next, you know. But I don't know. Would you watch a Falcon standalone movie, Michael?
No.
That's too bad. I don't. I
But
think.
it's not because of his colors, it's because of the character.
Yeah, but what if Cap's in it? Is that all right then? Because then it's a Cap movie.
I do like Chris Evans.
He's your favorite Human Torch.
He's dreamy.
Yeah, well, and Black Magic points out now we need a Latino and an Asian superhero.
I mean,
You're going to
I-
get the animated movie of Miles Morales, so you'll get the Latino Spider-Man. Asian superhero, we had Olivia Munn as Psylocke. What?
Mun is such an Asian name.
I know, believe me. What were you going to say, Amy?
Well, I think that it's nice that it came out when it did. I think it would have been just as amazing 10 years from now. Obviously, like really much better CGI for people that didn't like it. But I think that part of what makes a good film is also what it has to say, which might be part of the social commentary, you know, like life imitating art, all of that.
Sure.
So I want to hopefully let people know that, like, you can watch it whether you're a Marvel fan, DC fan, whatever. Like,
If you've never really enjoyed comic book
Yeah.
movies, you know, it's not like I don't know, it's not like you're not going to enjoy it. You know, if you don't like superheroes,
It's
you can
definitely
still
going to resonate more with the Black community for sure because
Yeah.
they have not been able to get something like this.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
you don't have to be Black to enjoy it.
absolutely not. No,
No,
that's
that's
true.
silly.
Now, maybe I have seen movies where that is the case, but this was not one of them. Soul Plane. No, actually, Soul Plane was very funny. It's just a joke.
Oh my
Now, we only have a
God.
few minutes left, and before Michael wants to talk about something, just for the sake of the title of the episode, I wanted to talk about Tigra,
Tigra.
who is actually, I think, a character who is due for showing up on the big screen. There are so many Avengers characters. There she is for those watching on YouTube from West Coast Avengers #3, battling Kraven the Hunter, the great Spider-Man villain. You're not a Tigra fan?
She's like a knockoff DC Comics cheetah.
Yeah, sure, but
She's just a knockoff cheetah to me.
that doesn't mean she can't be in the movies. I mean, I think if they had made a movie in the mid '80s, she would have looked awful. It would have been like a rubber suit.
That outfit is so DC Comics too.
What, the barely there
The
bikini?
bikini, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't
DC
even
Comics
see
is
that.
costumes I feel like are so much more like plain, like as compared to like what we get with like.
I mean, if you
X-Men.
look at her, I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, she's
You're like, I
she's
like
a
her
sa-
outfit.
Yeah, I mean,
I
you know.
like Kraven. He's got a.
Well, we talked
got a
about
good
Kraven. I'm a
look,
huge
yeah.
Kraven the Hunter fan, and I hope that there is whether there's a Spider-Man movie or a standalone Kraven movie.
I would
am
like
in
to
fa-
see him pop in the Netflix series.
Oh yeah, that.
I think that would be really cool on
think
Daredevil.
I was gonna say Daredevil, maybe Iron Fist. I don't know.
Not Luke Cage.
Not Luke Cage. No, Luke
I can't
Cage.
see Kraven hanging out in Harlem.
Not in that getup.
No.
But what do you think of his outfit, by the way, Michael?
Oh, I love it. Tony says I like remind him of Kraven. Wow. My style.
I mean,
Oh.
you do have a lot of style.
He said that a long time ago.
And
Stop your style.
Can't stop my style. Is that what you said?
I think that is
Yeah.
what he said.
I love
And
that.
look, Tigra's a character who's been around for like 45 years, and I would just like to, if you don't want to put her in one of the movies, let's get her on the cartoon show or something.
Yeah,
I just feel like
yeah.
where is this character? And I was a huge fan of West Coast Avengers. I think I liked West Coast Avengers better than East Coast Avengers. Because it had Hawkeye. I loved the Hawkeye Mockingbird when they were actually
I
a
don't get your
couple.
thing for Mockingbird.
Well,
like-
because she's not good. I mean, she's not bad on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but she's not the same character. Yeah, you'll see. Season 3. Don't worry.
Okay.
But the final point that I'll make about Tigra is that she was ranked 61st in Comics Buyer's Guide's 100 Sexiest Women in Comics. I love that she's 61st.
even in that outfit.
Even in that outfit, you can. Well, you know what? That's because some people just
I
they're
bet
not into
She-Hulk's
cats.
higher than that.
She-Hulk better be higher than that. She never dressed like that though. But anyway, I think that her time has come. Who are the characters that you in the chat would most like to see? Whether it's in a movie or a cartoon or whatever, you let us know. Whom you would like to see. Now, by the way, Black Magic 99 says, LOL, Michael the Hunter. So now you are officially taking Kraven's name. Michael, what did you want to talk about here in our final
I meant
moments?
to give it to you last week, but we had a guest here.
And it was my birthday.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of shows here at AfterBuzz, I'm not going to lie, and no one made any recognition of my birthday, including Tony B. Tony _ in the booth, who engineers pretty much all my
Well,
shows.
it's because you don't walk around like most LA people being like, it's my birthday
That's true.
month, like a month before your birthday.
When you're 42, you don't really march
You
around.
look great for 42.
See, that's the only present I need. Thanks, Amy.
That
You're
wasn't
welcome. No, but seriously.
that wasn't like an exciting milestone year for you.
No,
Okay.
no, it wasn't. It
Well, I got together some gifts.
I can't
for
wait to
you,
hear about my gifts.
And they all have a little story. So first off, we
Oh
have
my gosh.
X-Men collector's edition.
Oh, this is the Pizza
comic,
Hut one.
which you could only get
Yeah.
if you went to Pizza Hut on Kids Night during 1 week during 1993,
was
and
only
I
1
went.
week.
And I went. Yeah, they did it a whole month, and they had a different comic each month. And me and my dad went to the last one, and we both got one.
So you have an
And
extra.
So this is the one that my dad took home.
Wow.
And I don't know if you want to open it.
I don't
but
know.
You can.
Because I can, even though it's pre-bagged, I could bag and
That's
board
the
it.
problem.
And by the way, this object is not intended for children under 3 years
I
of
know.
age.
I thought you would like the warning on the
I'll
back.
keep that away from my son
Yeah.
and my daughter. But man, it's like animated Cyclops and Bishop. I kind of want to read this story, but I don't
know,
know.
right?
Let me look up
And-
the comics buyer's guide value on that.
Well,
I'll let you know.
just in case you wanted to do that, we have a
Whoa!
wizard from 1993 and a bookmark for you
Oh,
with
look at this.
one
This
of your
is,
favorite teams.
I don't know which camera I can hold this up
second
to, but it is Excalibur,
yeah.
and this is
Second
Shadowcat,
series they
Phoenix,
ever
Nightcrawler,
did.
Captain Britain, and Megan, who had a great superhero name. Megan, but I loved
changed
all these
her
characters.
name later.
They did later. I loved all these
Tapestry.
characters. Though.
Oh, she looks cool.
Who's that?
One in the blue.
One in the book. That's
Well, that's
Shadowcat. That's Kitty
Shadowcat.
Pryde.
Yeah.
So there you go. I knew that I could win somebody over to hashtag Team Kitty.
And this Wizard magazine, I had 2 of them, and one's all beat up. This is the nice one. I like lugged it around with me everywhere for like a year. But it has this great interview with Chris Claremont.
Who?
Hey.
Yeah,
Chris
just kidding.
Claremont,
Just jokes.
post X-Men, which he says, this is one of the quotes from his
He was
story.
bitter at this point, by
I
the way.
look at the X-Men and I think, this is my entire working life, and it's taken them 18 months to gut it like a fish.
Yeah.
So enjoy reading that, looking at
it's
all
funny
the
because
toys of the day.
I met him at a New York comic book convention right around that time, and I was
mad.
I
You'd
was
tell
just-
anyone.
I had him sign one of my favorite issues, which is I believe it's Uncanny X-Men 153. It's Kitty's bedtime story, which she tells to Ileana, who is Colossus's little sister before she becomes a teenager. Don't ask. She's still a little girl at this point, and it's like these cartoon versions of Nightcrawler and Wolverine, and I was just like, oh, this was always one of my favorite comics. He's like, yep. Too bad they went and ruined it all. So, but thank you for all. This is great stuff. So,
Throwbacks.
if you would like to send me additional birthday presents at Christian DMZ, you got to direct message me. I'll tell you where to send. No, I'm just teasing. Well, that was all good.
P.O. box.
Thank you. Yeah, I should get a PO box just so
For
people
fan
can
mail.
send me
Yeah.
send me
Oh,
gifts.
yeah.
Black Magic 99 says 90s comics are the best. If by that you mean 80s comics, absolutely. No, the by the end of the 90s, I was pretty much out on everything. Like as much as I like heading into the 90s, I still loved Spider-Man. I still loved the X-Men, and you know.
After 95, things started changing a lot.
When it turned into like, well, we can't have Venom every issue in Spider-Man. Now we're gonna have Carnage, and we're gonna have Maximum Carnage, where there's and it was just a lot of
Lots of expansion.
it was always about money and profit, which is fine.
Lots
But
of merch.
when the stories you felt went by the wayside for the sake of the bottom line, I was just like, I don't think I need these anymore. But thank God movies aren't that way. You know, the story's always great in every comic book movie. And Art Master Austin Prophet says, "Happy birthday!" ! So thank you. He didn't say I looked young. That was Amy who said that, but I appreciate that. Anyway, so I think that people should check out Black Panthers. What it really comes down to, right, Amy?
Yeah.
And Michael, have you seen any of these movies in the theater? Like, you didn't see Logan? You didn't see Logan in the theater because you just don't like to go to the theater.
I typically like to just buy the movie because
Yeah.
it's like for the price it would cost like $20 to go
Yeah,
to
and
the
you
movie
can
here in
buy it for-
Hollywood, and you
yeah.
can buy it for that. So
Yeah.
it's just like I don't know. I have my own little home viewing situation.
That's fine. So
Do you
know,
like? I mean, do you like to eat while you watch a movie, like something that you make yourself, or is it no? No.
we want to know
no,
what you're
it's
viewing.
not about
Pretty
like
much.
no. If I wanted to like bring food into the movie theater, I'd do that. So
Yeah.
I used to bring Taco Bell into the movie
Oh,
theater
Chipotle.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It was like a
that's against the
teenage
rules.
thing for me. I don't know. I grew out of it.
That's good. Well, you don't go to the movies anymore. What was the last movie you saw? Do you remember going to the theater to see something?
Suicide Squad.
Oh.
And I think that's probably
And is
the
that why you
reason
swore, you swore off on movies?
so bad.
But how much did you love the Jared Leto Joker? So not.
It was like an interesting take on it.
It was a very different
it's
take.
Too soon for all this shit.
You needed to go with a different take after Heath Ledger. But anyway, that's not here for Marvel TV news.
No,
But,
we're not here for that.
We're gonna have to really dive back in on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've only got a couple weeks now, but
There was someone in the chat that said they watched 4 seasons in the last 2 weeks.
I'm gonna bet they don't have 2 kids. I'm just guessing.
Oh,
Well, like, I want to know what the schedule was for sure. Like, how many did you?
Yeah, they let me know. Yeah, they let me know.
Like-
And I have, I think, 7 episodes left of the current season, and I feel confident that I'll catch up. And then
okay.
basically right when S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back is when Jessica Jones premieres. So Michael's not excited, but
I saw a trailer today. I was like, boring.
you didn't think that looked good? I love the trailer
like,
for
this
Jessica.
is where they made me.
It is where they made her.
Okay, Logan.
What if Patsy gets her own show? Will you check that out? The Hellcat show.
She don't need to know her own show, and she's not going to get her
She's
own
not gonna
show.
get it.
What?
No.
What?
I just ordered a new shirt that's got Hellcat on it.
Really?
I like it a
So
lot.
we'll see it in a
You'll see
future
it, yeah.
installment of the
You
show.
will.
Anyway, well, that was our magical discussion about Kitty, Panther, Tigra, oh my. I was very proud of myself. I feel like we stuck to all 3 of the things that I wanted to talk
did.
about.
Yeah.
And
And I wore my cheetah coat for you.
of course you did. Well, you didn't do it for me. You did it for everyone. You did it for the
I actually
audience.
wore it for you.
Well,
'cause
thank you.
said that you hated men in cheetah, and I was like, well then.
Well, then I have to prove that I can make it work. Anyway, thanks to everybody in the chat. There was a fun conversation. We tried to drag some of the conversation over here into the show. But and if you're watching the archive version of this, go ahead and comment. Thanks to the guy who last week said that I like to hear myself talk.
That was the funniest comment.
It was,
ever.
except I actually hate to hear myself talk. But I understood what he meant. I was very excited, and I can't help myself. I get very excited, especially when I have Excalibur collectible cards. Now I just
It's like
need.
mint. Be careful with
I
that
know,
thing.
it's
That's
amazing.
like survived 1990.
Oh,
Amy, is this
wow.
card older than you?
Yes, it
Yeah, I
is.
thought it was. Anyway, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week. And until then, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at ChristianDMZ. Amy, where do people find you?
On all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ.
And Michael.
Michael X. Shirley.
And in the booth, we have at Tony B. Tony, UNDERSCORE. Tony B. Tony _. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next week. Excelsior!
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.